Just to give you a little bit of background on me, I was a graphic designer and full-time marketing professional before stumbling into real estate. I took over as a director of marketing for a boutique real estate firm, and a year later ended up with Keller Williams. So I started on a team and I did inside sales agent work, marketing, became a buyer agent, lead buyer specialist, lead listing specialist, and then became CEO of that team. So it was pretty incredible. And then I was offered the CEO team leader role of a market center of a brokerage.
So you started actually not in sales at all, but in the support of a team, and then evolved into operations of that team, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was really exciting to learn all of those different roles. And now I think it's been preparing me for the role that I'm in, because now I can help people, whether it's the operational side, the systems, the models, the tools that they need, or if they need coaching on the sales side, how to grow their business that way. So what's interesting about being in this role too, because I built a big real estate business. I was doing about 20 million a year in sales volume, and I loved lead generating. And then stepping into this role to grow our talent and attract talent and recruit agents felt really intimidating. I don't know why. So I don't know if any of you have felt that way. So
Let's stop right there. Anybody
yeah.
feel intimidated with lead gen? Let's be honest today. Come on, right? We all get a little intimidated. So I'm grateful that you're bringing this up, because it starts with how we feel, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so,
It's
so
mindset first.
talk about that. Talk a little bit about, like, how did you feel different and how did you overcome that? Because that's amazing.
Yeah. So even though I had had success as an agent, I felt a little inauthentic in reaching out to these other agents. I wasn't sure how I could really help them with their business. And it's really important to me that I'm not making false promises to someone. And what Jessica has really helped me realize is that being part of Keller Williams and all the tools and things that we can plug into is like having an MBA in this real estate business. So we have so many tools, the playbooks, different things that we can plug into. And even if it's one thing that we've mastered that we can share with them, we know that they'll grow their business. So having that confidence in our tools then started to make it easier to have these conversations with people.
Cool. Well, and when someone's brand new, because you actually lived in real estate in building a team and supporting that. If someone was brand new, what would be something that they should acquaint themselves first with so they can have great conversations or help agents? What would be a few of those things that you can think of?
So one, I think the database assessment is such an incredible tool. Jason Abrams has a really awesome video. So watch that multiple times so that you can figure out your own rhythm and how you want to walk someone through that. That's what I did. I watched the video, I took notes, I have the printed playbook. And then at the end of that database assessment, there are 55 plus unique touches to help them generate ideas for how they want to touch their database and start to get a better return on their database. Even if people are converting at a 1% rate for their database, we can definitely help them double it. And if we optimize it, it's more like 6.4%.
That's amazing when you think about it, the impact you could have on an agent just helping them get a little control over their database. Wow.
And most of those are already people that know, like, and trust them. So it's not harder for them to really do that. We optimize it and our technology does a lot of the heavy lifting for them. So they might be working less hard and doing more business.
So if let's just pretend I'm brand new. If I just dove into the database assessment, practice the videos like Jason Abrams, practice on my own agents, is that enough, do you think, to have an impact?
You could totally have an impact with just one thing.
Okay.
The very next thing then is reaching out to the people to have a conversation, right? Because we'll never change anyone's lives if we don't have the conversation with them first. So what that looks like for me is, I started with a list of agents. I'm taking bold again with my agents. So you absolutely have to pick up the phone. And in bold, we teach our agents that they're home, they're happy, and they want to talk to me. So I just tell myself the same thing for the agents. They're home, they're happy, and they want to talk to me. So how that looks is, Jessica, I'll just role play with you a little bit. I would call you and I'd say, "Hey, Jessica, this is Meagan West with Keller Williams. How are you?"
I'm good. What's going on?
"Hey, well, I just see you out there crushing it in your business. And I was wanting to know if it would make sense for us to have a conversation about opportunity."
I'm pretty good right now. I'm doing actually pretty well this year, even though the market's down, and I'm not really looking to make a move.
Yeah, no, I totally appreciate that, Jessica. And what I find is that I would love to earn the plan B position for your business. So would it make sense, or would you be open to at least having a conversation about opportunity?
I guess it wouldn't hurt.
Okay, awesome. So I've got time tomorrow afternoon at 4:30, or how's Friday morning at 11?
Let's do
So we
Friday.
so
So
we
let me
might
ask you that. So that's a very easy call to make, but let's talk like
Perfect.
how many times do you get beat up on that call, and what kind of things should we
Yeah.
be prepared for? Talk to us about that.
So a couple things, right? I think one thing that I was really surprised about is when I ask if people are open to a conversation about opportunity, which I know that most of you have heard of this book, Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones. This one I think is specifically really good for recruiters. They have exactly what to say for real estate agents, which is great for our agents. But asking someone if they're open to opportunity, people don't want to be closed-minded and say, "No, I'm not open." So I was surprised at how many people said, "Yeah, I'm open to a conversation."
Right. Who's
Or
gonna say like, oh, I'm closed-minded, I'm not open to anything, so it's kind of, I love the phrase of it, because how open are you open? No one wants to say, no, I'm closed-minded. So I love that. So just that phrase has really changed your response, would you say?
yeah, totally. That has totally improved and increased my response rate.
Hmm.
And then, letting people know, "Hey, would it make sense to at least meet with me so that you have a great plan B for your business? Because should anything ever change, I don't want you to be lost out there and then interviewing brokerages for your business."
So you
Um,
have kind of like a couple different asks that you're prepared for a no.
yeah.
Can we go through those?
Yeah. So, and then my last ask really is to say, "Okay, let's say they've shut me down on everything. Great. Would you at least consider reviewing a proposal from me where I can make them a compelling offer for their business so that they know what it would look like if they were to make a decision to move?"
Okay, so let's go through them, and I'm going to type them in the chat for you guys,
Yeah,
because here's what's beautiful about this. Megan, in her mind, is already prepared for 2 or 3 no's. So she doesn't even stumble. She's not like, oh, they said no, click. She's
yeah,
ready for the no's. And so it's kind of like, what else you get? What else you get? And then there's eventually a yes. And you're surprised by how many yeses you're getting early on. So I love how you
totally.
have that, because that just gets you to a yes eventually, even if it's just permission to stay in touch. So can we
Absolutely.
replay this one time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first question I ask is, "Hey, Jessica, are you open to having a conversation about opportunity?"
Okay. And I say, no, I'm happy where I'm at.
Okay. I can totally appreciate that. And yet, would it make sense for us to get together, meet, and I'd love to at least earn your plan B?
I'm not really shopping around, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to talk.
Yeah, right. And at the very least, we'll both end up with a new friend. Now, if she gave me pushback, then I would say, "Okay, well, would you at least consider reviewing a compelling proposal from me?"
Reviewing my compelling proposal. I love it. And so between those, you likely getting a yes.
Yeah, because it at least piques their curiosity. I'm planting a seed in their mind. And now they're like, even if they're not thinking about making a move, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to look at my offer, right?
Right. So you got curiosity. I mean, it'd be hard to say no. I'm not looking at your offer. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay, so let's hear from you guys. What kind of questions do you have from Meagan about this process? I have a few of my own, but I want to see if any of you want to ask anything first. Feel free to unmute yourself, put it in the chat. Anything you want to ask at all.
And I can even share some fun, like banter that has gone back and forth with some of the agents that have pushed back, just to show how you can have some fun with that too.
Okay, well, let's do some banter and then I'll ask questions if no one else has one. So, what are some of the jabs you get so that we're
Yeah.
best prepared for this?
So I have this, R2 producing agent, and he does about the same business every year, right? He's right at 8 million every year. And so, we ended up taking the conversation to text message, and he said, okay, I'm not making a move. I'm not interested in this. He listed a bunch of misconceptions he had about our company, which one, I don't handle objections in text because it sounds defensive. So I just wait for our appointment. So I just let him know, he said, I would love to talk to you about coming to my company though. I said, okay, I would love to meet you for lunch, and I'll listen to everything that you have to say about your company, and I'll even let you go first, as long as you'll do me the same courtesy. So he said, touche, and we set our lunch appointment and we've met. And now we're in conversation. I've presented the proposal. So it's just a matter of time before I win him over.
I love it. So you didn't take
Yeah,
no
it's
for an
super
answer.
fun.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
meet. Let's trade notes here. I love it.
sure. Absolutely. And then the next thing is I had an agent who, he does a pretty big business every year. And, he texted me back and he said, hey, thank you so much for continuing to pursue me. I really appreciate it, but save your money and your time for lunch. I'm not interested at this point. So just playfully, because I know we have that kind of relationship, I said, listen, you know, I am so happy to meet with you. Thank you so much. And if it means that much to you, I'll even let you buy your own lunch. So, just having fun with people back and forth. Plus, then I know that they're the kind of people I want to be in relationship with too.
Yeah.
Um, and having those kind of fun responses back and forth,
Well,
people think it's
it's not about outscripting someone. It's about
cool.
connecting with people.
Absolutely.
And I think you're excellent at that because what I do want to mention is it starts with how you're feeling and thinking about this.
Mhm.
And that's you weren't feeling authentic at first because you didn't feel like you were contributing. Now that you realize you have so much to help them with, even if
Yeah.
it was
A lot more
just their
fun.
database, right? But you could help them grow their team, you could help them with so many issues, and yet leads is a common issue, right? So that
Yeah,
database, if you just lean in on that, you're able to help a lot of people. But it starts right here, and knowing you can do good for them. So I love it.
absolutely.
Devon asked a great question. He says, first of all, he says, great script, awesome script, awesome dialogue, conversation starter. So he asked, is it mostly cold calls that work with this conversation starter or script?
Great question. So I am doing a variety, right? Like a lot of these agents I haven't necessarily met or spoken with before. And I call them with this, and they're like, it either goes how it goes, but now they've heard my voice. I've called them from my phone number. And so it's the opportunity to continue to build. I can invite them to events, trainings, call them again, check on their business. Also, I find that from the list that I created of the producing agents in my area, I also am looking through the list to see which agents have worked with my agents, because then it's an opportunity for me to build my agent's profit share. If they've done a deal together, I'm like, great, how was it? How was this agent? Or when I have producing agents join my company, and we give them that white glove, great experience in helping them get their business moved over to Keller Williams, I'll print out a list of all the agents in their former office. And I'll say, listen, I know that you had an experience at your last company and you know what your experience is here. Who did you leave behind that needs our help?
Ooh,
Who's
who
a
did
really
you
great
leave
agent?
behind? They're going to think of their friends that need help. I love it. That's a
And
great way of
then,
asking.
oh my gosh. And then when I call those agents that they left behind and I say, listen, John and Sophia were the most recent ones. John and Sophia, said that you were just absolutely wonderful. And I wanted to reach out to you to see if you're open to a conversation about opportunity. And it's as easy as that. It's basically the same script. I've just now made it a little warmer, by making a connection that we know the same people. And they usually look up to the agents that have made the move and they're like, oh yeah, they're wonderful. Of course, I'd love to meet with you and, see what you've got going on over there.
Love it. Well, and then Ivan brings up a good point. His aha he had so far is that he couldn't, that you don't manage or handle objections over a text, over voicemail. You can't, right? So let me ask you this. Think of a time that you've gotten maybe this gentleman that had all the misconceptions about KW. How do you frame that in a text so that you can pivot into a conversation or a meeting? What does that look like, or what is your banter back and forth like in order to kind of gain control of that conversation again?
Yeah. So, I usually bring it back to, wouldn't it at least make sense to find out what I'm offering? Or, wouldn't it make sense? Right. Which is like a tie down anyways. So I'm getting them agreement. It's a softer close, but I'm like, wouldn't it make sense to find out the truth? Or wouldn't it make sense to at least hear what we're offering? So I kind of just pivot and just go back to either like the plan B or listen, we're helping agents with XYZ. You said that your goal was blank. So you said your goal is to double your business. You want to go travel with your wife again, and you don't want your phone to be blowing up so your wife's mad at you because you're working the whole time you're on vacation. Great. That's exactly why we should meet. It sounds like you need leverage.
Well, and here's the thing, when you need to regain control over a conversation, be it text or verbal, you don't do that by objection handling, you do that by asking questions. So wouldn't it make sense is her go-to. I would challenge you all to figure out what yours is. And that's how you can kind of regain that. But that's a really big aha. It's not about it's not out texting them or objection handling. It's, wouldn't it make sense? Or aren't you curious what we are offering? Wouldn't it make sense to just see what we have to offer in case you need a backup plan? Something like that, right?
Yeah. And I usually start with like, hey, I can totally appreciate that. And, wouldn't it make sense? ... So, yeah. And I don't handle the objections in text because they can't hear tonality and it can come off as defensive or aggressive. And I don't want that. I really am looking to meet with them to see it's as much me interviewing them as it is them interviewing me. We're both deciding if this is a good fit and if we should work together.
I love it. Christopher asks a great question. Are you making the compelling offer in person or sending it to them? And that's kind of what I wanted to dive into is, what does that conversation look like? What does that offer look like? So let's follow Christopher's question here with the compelling offer. Paint us a picture of what that looks like.
Yeah. So I do not make blind offers. So I don't just willy-nilly send out proposals to people. They do have to meet with me first in order for me to make a compelling offer. That's important because everybody has different pain points or needs in their business. And I want to be the one offering the right prescription or the right tool that will help solve that pain point. So if someone is like, listen, I really want to increase my listing game, I want to take over more listings, then maybe part of my offer is putting them through the MAPS coaching program, Mega Listing Agent. Or maybe they need leverage. And so I'm going to coach them and be their talent scout to help them hire that first great admin. Could be things as simple as doing an extreme database makeover, right? Like literally helping get their database uploaded, tagged, organized, set them up on smart plans. We do actually have a program. It's $99 if agents want to take advantage of it. This is something that we're doing in-house, and I will waive the fee for this. So what we'll do is we will create their listing presentation, their buyer presentation, create 2 ads, to generate leads. We'll give them a smart plan, and we'll get their database uploaded for them. So it's $100. And then when I offer it, I don't say like, oh, waive this. I just list all the things we're going to do, and they're like blown away. So
it's an extreme makeover for their business. Let's be honest. If there's someone else, they're like, this is what I've needed for years.
and
So
it's
you're
the
doing
easy button, right? We're not just saying,
right.
yes, we have all these things for you to take advantage of. When you're a busy producing agent, it's really hard to slow down and make a change, even if it's what's best for your business. So the fact that we're able to do all that for them, and sometimes, we're doing things ahead of them making the move over. So, I've already got listing signs designed and ordered for them, their business cards, so we'll have them fill out the Keller Williams questionnaire and everything, so that the moment they're ready to flip the switch for their business and make the move, we can move as fast as the speed that they want to move.
Well, and I want to talk about that a little, because I've seen what you do. So one of the things that Meagan has a really great success with is moving people, but moving them quickly. And I think why she has so much success, you guys, is she can show people this. So for example, if she's talking to Alfredo or Raquel or April or whoever, and she's like, we can give you an extreme makeover. We could even get started now before you join us. She's moving them much quicker than most of us are, because she's solving their biggest headaches. They know their database is a mess. They know their branding doesn't look sharp. They know they're missing opportunity. And she's writing this into the onboarding experience. We're going to help you with this problem by joining us. And she's even getting started before they actually transfer license. So that speeds things up, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And if they're a team, if they're not just a solo agent, sometimes we'll bring over one of their admins first, so the admin can start setting everything up for them. And then it's easier for them to make the shift and the transition over.
So smart, so smart. So, so the offer, obviously you're not giving it out, but let's just say I'm being sassy, like some of the realtors are. Anyone have anyone sassy in their country? Yes. And I send it over. I'll review it. What do you do then? If I'm just giving you a hassle, like, yeah, I don't have time to meet with you. I do want to see it. Send it over.
I would hop on a Zoom call with them at least.
Okay.
It just doesn't really make sense for me to send a totally blind proposal. I have done it in the past and it's never worked for me. It's not that I have a mindset around this. Maybe it works. It's all a numbers game. So sure. Yeah. And I just want to be as effective as possible. So if I can really just find even one little pain point, and listen, I'll sleuth them. I'll look them up on Facebook and see like what it looks like is going on in their life. If they've got kiddos or, they're trying to live a big life out there. Well, maybe they need some help with leverage and taking some things off their plate so that they can continue to grow and scale their business. If it's all just posting only real estate and business, well, maybe they're leaving that life by design by the wayside. So again, maybe they need some models and systems so that they can still do business and people know they're in the business, but it doesn't feel like spammy where all they're ever posting is real estate. It's like people want to know a real person.
So Ivan makes a comment. He really likes your onboarding approach, like your strategy and tactic, because it is really a cool experience and it really gives them a good feel for what they're getting into. And he even mentions that you could start them up with a couple ads or what have you. So Ivan, a fun way to close someone that's really being difficult is with their agreement is to take their listing and write an ad and show them how many leads you can get. And it's a lot of fun. So just know that if you guys are struggling with closing, there are a lot of ways to weave people into what we have with tech. And Meagan, how do you do this? Because you also have a very small leadership team, don't you? You don't have a huge office with a bunch of staff. So
No.
tell us about your org chart, and then let's just say I'm this big agent that you're going to bring in. How do you logistically do this?
Yeah, so there's me. I have an MCA, and then I have a director of first impressions / she's also our market center tech trainer. And then I do have a productivity coach in my office. So how it looks for us onboarding, or I want to back up just a little bit before that. If I have a great meeting with someone, I also have a couple of my staff reach out to say, hey, I heard you had a really great meeting with Meagan. She totally raved about you. I wanted to call and introduce myself. By the way, are there any questions that I could help answer for you? Because sometimes, they really feel pursued and like we really want them when it's not just me reaching out. So that can be a really cool way for them to kind of get plugged in. And then how it looks is one of my top teams in the office, they have some incredible cyber backers that did all of this for their business. So they're offering that package now, the $99 package. And so I know that it only takes 2 days to create all of those things. It helps offset their costs. It's good for my office and good for my team. And they totally are that leverage. When I sit with agents, because I saw the need that even once they would join us, that we needed a new agent orientation. So right now I'm actually doing a new agent orientation. Most months it looks like weekly. Some months it's every other week, just depending on what kind of events we have going on, but it's 1 hour. I have them download their KW mobile app, their consumer app. I have them upload all the contacts in their cell phone right to their command database. And then we go ahead and get them started on a smart plan. So the smart plan is usually one like of the new to KW smart plans. We show them how to just make a couple little tweaks. There's a gentleman that came to my office. He's been in the business for, I think, 4 years, part-time. He's done 2 transactions. He runs a like scuba diving, snorkeling tours by boat. So he has a 3,000 person database. We uploaded it. We set them all up on a smart plan. We staggered the starts of the smart plan so he wasn't getting 3,000 texts on one day, and it was manageable. And he is already working with 2 people straight from his database and started several more conversations. So doing those things help make them sticky with our technology. We're getting them into production faster or helping them grow their business faster. And like, that's going to keep them with us, right? That's going to build that loyalty. And then also people on the outside looking in are going to see the success that they're having and wonder what's going on over here. So it really does build exponentially. It snowballs. You just have to get started. Even if it's the consistency of making 5 calls per day, right? Like anybody could deal with 5, even if they were 5 rejection calls, because the consistency, the time on task will beat natural talent every time.
That is so true. If you just do it every day, you're going to snowball and multiply. If you do it every now and then, you never get into momentum. Great advice. So, and your call can be to anyone. You don't have to have a referral or a reason to call. So you guys could pick up the phone and call anyone with that strategy. Let's shift gears to referrals, because you've done a great job with the agents since June, and several people that you brought on have been helping you get more conversations started. How do you talk about referrals? How do you ask for referrals? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, I talk to my agents, of course, making sure they understand the opportunity that is profit share or growth share if you're in another country. So like the opportunity is to create a line of passive income, and it's part of the legacy that you're leaving. So you get to name a beneficiary. It's something you get to leave behind, whether it's a person or maybe it's a nonprofit organization that your heart bleeds for and you really want to support that. So I just want to make sure that we're bringing over great people. it makes sense. Like it's a be nice call from me, right? Like I'm making them look like rock stars and look really great by saying, hey, so and so really talked you up. They said you were amazing to work with. Thank you so much for being such a great professional. I'll invite them to lunch or something like that and just say, hey, I'd love to meet with you. Would you be open to having a conversation about opportunity? I'd love to take you to lunch or meet you for coffee. And usually they're like, yeah, that'd be great. Or even if they're like, oh, that was so sweet. Thank you so much. You don't need to do that. My counterpart who manages our other office, he will use the line. He'll say, I would just be sick to my stomach if you made a move in your business and we didn't at least have an opportunity to meet so you knew what we were offering.
Very
And,
smart. Love it.
and that's true. Yeah.
And you guys are just speaking from your heart. It's not worrying about the dialogue or the words. It's just sharing and caring. So I
If
love
you
it.
do the right activities, like with that right reason, then you're going to get the results, right? So
Yeah.
like we're just helping people and we have to talk to people to offer our help, just like as agents, if anyone like transitioned from real estate agent to leadership. So, we just can't help anybody if we don't tell our story and we don't reach out to them.
Simon makes a great comment. He says the most effective question I have is, if you had any gaps in your business right now, what are they? What does that look like? So that's a great question. And he
Yeah,
sets the call up very positive to deliver a value proposition conversation. So again, this
love
isn't
that.
about out scripting, really. It's about connecting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So so referrals, they just do you have like a goal every month for referrals? Like, tell us more about
Yeah.
referrals.
Yeah. So, of course, with my ALC, my Associate Leadership Council, the goal is that they send me 2 referrals per month. And it's a lot of fun, right? Like I love getting them engaged to say, hey, I called those agents. I've got appointments with these ones. These ones I can't reach, but I'm still following up with them. It's kind of like gamified and it's exciting for them too. So I make sure also whatever agent referred me, I let them know when that person's coming into the office because I love it when they're here working in the office and it's like, "Oh yeah, well you two know each other. You've done a deal together." And it just makes them feel more comfortable and like, "Oh yeah, I do already know people here."
You naturally do something though that I don't know if you realize, and it's you obviously care about people, so you don't want anyone not involved. You're naturally a connector collector.
Mhm.
So that's something I just want to point out to all of you is Meagan's just connecting the dots. She's connecting people that she knows will like each other. She's connecting people that have similar situations to solve or evolve. And that just seems to be natural for you. Is there any intention behind that, or is that just
Oh,
something you do?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it is similar to when I was an agent, right? Because as people start to tell you really their big why or what's really important to them, it's like, "Oh my gosh, wow, is this a great thing to put in front of you?" I'm matchmaking people with an opportunity or another person or whatever makes the most sense for them, right? It's like I don't have a stake in it. I really just want what's best for that person. So, I might know of teams in my office that are hiring and need certain positions, and I'll meet with someone and it will just click. And I'll call that rainmaker and say, oh my gosh, you have to meet with this person. I think this is exactly who you're looking for. So that's really
I'm sure
fun.
your agents love you for that you're out
Yeah.
there looking for them and making connections. Christopher
Yeah.
has a great question, and this is a question about recruiting couples or partners or best friends. So we can
Yeah.
unpack this a couple different ways. But how do you approach a partnership of 2 agents? So let's break it in a couple different ways. Um, is there a strategy for which one you approach first? Is it important to approach them together? Are they more difficult to recruit? Think of a couple situations that you've dealt with, and what kind of advice would you give around this?
Yeah. So it can be a lot of fun. I'm smiling because it is interesting, right? I do find much in like marriages, that often people have different personality types, and those are who make the best partnerships. So sometimes, I mean, I usually reach out to both and then see who I get the most traction with, and I'll meet with them to make the compelling offer if I can't get them all together at the same time. Sometimes it's the rainmaker type, and it's the person who's like, wherever I go, everyone else will go. Or sometimes it's their most important person, like maybe their top agent on a team or their director of marketing that they couldn't live without, that I'm able to click with and build better connection and start to present like, hey, you've told me this is what you are building together. I want to help your whole team do this. So whatever it takes to set the appointment, I will reach out to all of them. Sometimes I'll let them know too, like, hey, I did talk to your business partner already. So
That can be a tricky situation, and there's
totally
so many
can be.
you got to feel out about this one, Christopher, because sometimes you've got a husband and wife, and one's real passive and really not that participative, but that's probably the decision maker. So you'd want them both, just like you can't list a home typically without both of them. You need them both to buy in. So how do you ask that during the needs analysis? Like, how do you uncover whoever else should be part of this conversation? Do you have a way of doing that?
Well, so, ELBO is how I remember our 4 models, right? The economic, the lead gen, the budget, and the organizational model. So we definitely have that org chart conversation. One, that helps me identify maybe if there are any instabilities in their organization. So as a talent scout, who do they need to help make things more solid? And then 2, really helps me get to the heart of who the decision maker is. So that's usually the conversation that I have with them.
And the only thing I would want to add to that is, if they have a killer admin person that actually runs their business, they need to see command, because the agent themselves are probably not going to have any interest in
Totally.
looking at. They don't
Totally.
know what it does because they don't do it, right?
So, and that's something interesting too, right? So it usually, the way that I meet with people, the first one is always the needs analysis. I'm getting to know them and I'm uncovering pain points or gaps in their business. Then I usually move to making a compelling offer. Sometimes we'll make it in person and we'll review that together, and we'll do a dive into the technology or something else that they were like, hey, I just have a few more questions about this. So sometimes they'll just review the proposal, and I always follow up to say, hey, did you have any questions about that? Was there anything that we should change on here? And my goal at this point, because I'm still pretty new to recruiting producing agents, is like, I want to make offers so good that they would feel dumb saying no to it. I mean, like, how could you not entertain this?
So if you were to bullet point or show us an offer, what are the critical elements of that offer if we were to try to create one like yours?
Yeah. So I usually have about 10 points that I'm making. I put it in a letter form. So I have a little introduction about, knowing that this offer is going to benefit them financially and in all the different ways that we've talked about. So I always start off the offers with something that is specific to Keller Williams that solves their problems. So maybe that's a coaching program. Maybe it's the database extreme makeover. I also, because these are top agents that I'm making these offers to, it's my job as the team leader and CEO, and it's also my great delight to coach and consult the top 20% agents. So I let them know that they get weekly coaching one-on-one with me, that I'm literally partnering with them to implement these things. And then, I go through to, if they've got active listings, I'm offering them at least enough listing signs for their active listings. Like, I'm going to pay for them, make them beautiful, have them professionally designed, printed, ready to go. We're going to cover their listing transfers. Depending on their production, I would offer creative ways, and you have to cover this with your operating principles, guys, but I will offer creative ways for them to pay their company dollar. So sometimes I let them choose their own split, right? If they're going to cap no matter what, I only make a certain amount of money from any agent. So if they want to stretch it out over more deals, fine. Sometimes instead of, like, we do offer cap management as well. Sometimes instead of cap management, it's depending on the shape that your market center is in. If you need more profitability right now, we might waive their monthly agent dues, because they're not coming from somewhere where the cap really makes sense to them anyways. So just waiving that $95 a month is enough for them. And then we're getting immediate company dollar on their deals. And just, really outlining some of the things that we already provide, but just showcasing it to be like, hey, we're going to do a technology audit on you. So that's basically the bones of it, what it looks like.
Very cool. Very cool. And yet what I want to just circle back to is the fact that you start with the KW specific solution that you guys are agreeing to put in place within the first 30 days or so. Because if they're looking at your offer, they might be looking at another offer, right? So if you just make this about fees and splits and cap, you may not win.
Money only matters in the absence of value, right? If I made you an offer today and I was like, Jessica, like, it'll cost you $50,000, but I guarantee you'll make 200,000. That's $150,000 return. You'll do that all day, every day. Like, if it's guaranteed and I have a proven track record of that. So it's not really about that money. It's about, like, how do we get them to their full potential and where they really want to be, what they want their life to look like.
Well, and that goes back to the fact that you're all unicorns. You all are special people, because in other offices, they have managers and brokers. They do not have a team leader, a unicorn, to help solve their problem. And I think sometimes we just put offers that don't really explain that element, because that's where the biggest impact happens, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All good things. We've had a couple people have actually messaged to ask if you'd be willing to share an example of an offer afterwards, if you wouldn't mind.
I'm totally happy to share that.
Cool.
Absolutely.
If there's any other requests you guys have, make them, because Meagan has really done this really well. And again, she's been only doing this full time since June. So that's not that many months. And you've brought in a lot of talent, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's super fun. We're hiring at least 10 to 13 agents per month, and our net numbers are really high. So it's pretty awesome.
And you're not relying on someone handing you leads. You can just go get them for yourself.
Oh yeah, I'll just be totally honest. I mean, the market center that we purchased is a turnaround market center. The previous owners were ready to retire. COVID really had a detrimental impact on this office. It was totally shut down. Nobody came in, no agents, nobody, not even with masks, nothing. So it was a lot of rebuilding and getting people engaged and back in the office. So I don't have a marketing budget or anything. So I really have to make the calls and get into relationship with people. I do volunteer, so I was plugged into Women's Council of Realtors. I do assist our board of realtors as well. And I attend different events that, one, I'm going to learn something from that I can bring back to my own agents, but two, where other agents are, because the more they see me engaged in things too, sometimes they know who I am, even if we haven't actually met yet. And so that helps. And they see the relationships I have with agents from all different companies.
Right.
So I think that helps a little too.
You're extremely authentic. And for those of you that are also feel that, go for it, because that makes you extremely relatable too, right?
You could totally do this. And they're home, they're happy, and they do want to hear from you, because if they don't, then they're going to miss out on this incredible opportunity.
Love it. So thinking of the year ahead, what are some things that you're planning on doing next? Now that you've got a rhythm, what's next for you? What are you going to do next?
So something that's really exciting, I do have someone that's calling the exam candidates and the newer agents. We are putting them in more of group recruiting appointments. So that's helping me leverage my time. And I'm focusing on really just the producing agents and how many lives that we can change next year. Jessica knows this. My ultimate goal is to be a coach, a speaker, a trainer. I'm so passionate about that and I love it. So my goal is to become a master at what I'm doing so that I can earn my next opportunity.
And you're doing a great job at it. So, if any one of you need a little confidence, Meagan can tell you she didn't have confidence day one. So let's go into that a little. If someone's on the call and they're not feeling like they have the confidence to start this, give us a pep talk. Let's put you in action with
Yeah.
this coaching.
So totally. One, if you haven't taken bold or you haven't taken bold in a long time or as a leader, definitely take it because I take it and I'm listening to it through 3 different ears, right? I'm listening to it as an agent, like what did I implement? What could I have done better? 2, as a coach to my agents, how can I help them implement these things? And then 3, how can I shift the strategies, the conversations to my role in attracting talent. So a mega agent's goals or the goals in bold is 20 conversations a day, 100 per week. I don't usually, I'm just being totally transparent. I don't usually make it to 20 conversations a day. So it usually looks like 5 to 10 conversations a day, honestly. But from that, I mean, most people are at least willing to meet. And then I put every single person in my calendar. That was one other thing we wanted to talk about today too, is how I get people to show up at a higher rate.
Oh yes, 80% show rate.
Yeah.
Who's interested in seeing this? So if you don't mind, you can screen share. Yeah, Christopher, I'm with you, man. 80%. I never got an 80% show rate. I thought I was great at like 75, but she's got 80 and she's going to show you how she's doing it. So go for it.
So I always put people in to my calendar. One, my team knows where I'm going to be, who I'm meeting with. We have a great little board out front, so we actually put their names on it. It's just a little touch. Some people really notice it. They'll take pictures with it and think it's cute. Maybe some people don't notice, and that's fine. So Jessica, if I were meeting with you, I would just put you into my calendar like this. I use Gmail, which is your kw.com email. So I would label it as a business consultation. But under more options here, I always take out the Google Meet. I put in whatever location. Right here where it says notification, you can actually click this drop down. So I will leave a notification in there, but I'll also add an email. And you can say the day before. And then I'll also add a notification via email, probably 2 hours beforehand. Because
wow, this is
like
awesome.
no chance that they can't say like, oh, I forgot we were meeting. Sometimes I am scheduling people a week or 2 weeks out based on their travel schedules, family, holidays, different things. So now there's no chance that they forgot about me. They're getting an email 24 hours before our meeting and then 2 hours before our meeting. And usually the morning of, or sometimes the night before, I'm texting them saying like, hey, I'm really looking forward to our meeting tomorrow. Can't wait to see you.
Well, and you can see if I've accepted this or if I've ignored it, right, on your calendar. So you know if I already, yeah, that is amazing.
And
Anyone have
especially if they haven't accepted my calendar invite, then I'm definitely making sure, especially if I'm meeting them off site and not here at the office, I'm definitely making sure they're going to be there because it's okay either way. I mean, yes, of course, I want everyone to honor their appointment with me. It's okay if they have to change or cancel or we postpone it and reschedule. That's fine. But I'd rather not waste my time driving all the way there and all the way back because I can make a few more calls. Or I can reach out to my own agents and make care calls, So it's not just about making them feel really great when they come in. It's once they're here too, checking in with them, like cheerleading them, helping or inviting them to classes that I'm like, hey, you said you wanted to do this. We've got this coming up. You should totally attend.
Your energy around it is so positive too. I get excited. I'm like, Okay, I'm joining. Oh, I already am a member.
Yeah,
Can't.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
love it.
It's awesome. And we just
So
have so
that's a
much fun,
great
right?
little
Like,
hack. That's a great calendar hack. So I think your enthusiasm around it, like can't wait to meet you or can't wait to connect with you and share ideas. I think there's that plus the logistics of it all. And for those of you that maybe have a lower show rate, that might be a strategy you want to try, a little hack you want to try with Google Calendar. I love it. 80%.
I love that the excitement is palpable because I am really excited. I've been with Keller Williams for 5 years. I love working here. And when you look at that opportunity map, the number of things that I've been able to do and the opportunities that have, been offered to me. Yeah, that
I
opportunity
have it in
map.
front of me all the time.
Awesome. Well, like you should too. And when you're meeting with agents, it's so important because like they don't know. One, we professionally develop people as business owners. So it's not like other companies where they just happen to have a job and it just happens to be selling real estate. So we're able to open their eyes up to more and a possibility. And then we get to partner with them on that journey, whatever that looks like. And if they just want to be a superstar agent, awesome, let's do that. And if they want leadership or they want more opportunity, cool, then let's do that.
I love it. We are where entrepreneurs thrive. And that's why you're having such success because you're speaking to them like entrepreneurs and you're showing them a solution for a business problem they're having that no one's talking to them about. And so your offer isn't just about percentages and splits and caps. It's about let's solve this problem together. I'm going to grab your hand and I'm going to help you do it when you join us. And we're going to do this. We're going to solve this problem quickly. Started before you join us to solve this problem. Okay, now we only have a few more minutes. So, there's some common problems, leads being one of them. Obviously, database assessment or Facebook campaigns could be a solution there. And what would be another major pain point that you're solving besides leads?
So leverage. I mean, that's
Leverage.
huge.
So disc profile, looking for talent, those are things you could do.
Absolutely, because and also teaching them the model for the order of how you hire, right? So if they're a solo agent, super powerful, one person business, great. Their first hire is that rockstar admin number one. And I'm going to recommend that they go through the perfect real estate assistant with Monica Reynolds because that rockstar agent isn't then going to have to slow down and train them and create a procedures manual. The admin is going to learn how to do all of that and create it for their future scalability, especially if that's the right person for the role. And then admin number one is going to help hire admin number two and train them. And now you've got your foundation. So now you can start adding salespeople and then more admin and then salespeople and more admin. And this is literally levels 1 through 7 in the red book of the organizational model. Like how big do you want to build your organization?
And I just put that in the chat for those of you that may not have these things handy. You can pin these to your desktop or what have you to show these things. And of course it's in English, so you may need to translate. But again, Meagan, how do you look at that? You already got your book ready to rock and roll.
I literally bought the leadership edition because this is tabbed and I can flip right to the section that I need. And then, sometimes we'll literally just read it together and read through it. These are very short little chapters and little pieces. And then you can start to see the light bulbs go off for them. And a lot of the playbooks, the one pagers, or when you're in KW Command and you reach connect through there, you've got great little trainings, but it's all based in this book. So I heard somebody at a family reunion talking about they just became an expert at this, and this was their tool. So I'm just diving into this all the time, and my book is starting to look pretty tattered, but that's okay. I literally have this with me like every single day. day, night, it's always with me. Like if I come across someone or meet with someone or need to reference something, it's right here. So I don't have page numbers and things like that memorized yet, like I know many other leaders do. That's okay. But I've got the tabs and it's easy enough for me to get the materials.
Well, and if you're not including MREA, command, a
Yeah.
playbook, or a model, right?
Yeah.
You're not really competing properly because that's our unfair advantage. So again, if someone's shopping around at Remax and Century 21 and Joe Schmo Realty and XYZ Realty, and they're looking at these other options, if you don't show how we're different, we just look like numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Cool.
Which isn't really, for me, wasn't really a compelling enough reason to move.
Right. So if you're only relying on the economic model and the capping, that might be one of your challenges. So database assessment probably would be number one. Leverage maybe would be number two, but those are the top two likely things that you could solve with just about anyone in front of you. Cool. Okay, let's send them off with a challenge, Megan, like we do in Bold and everything else. What's a challenge you can give everyone on this call and that listens to it before the end of the year? What would you love to see them do?
I would love to see them call at least 5 top producers every day. So 5 capping agents every day. Just make those calls. You're just being nice. You're seeing if they're open to having a conversation about opportunity. It will build your confidence. It will feel really good when they say yes, and you'll get to meet with them. And then please know that you have so many great people around you that will help you once you get past that point. So once you just make the calls and set the appointments, don't worry about what's next. You're just asking a lot of questions. You don't have to present all the answers or anything, even on your appointment. You're just getting the answers to their questions, or you're just, finding out what the gaps are in their business and finding out what their pain points are. Then you can come back. You can reach out to people like Jessica, other leaders, your operating principal, other team leaders, and like figure out, okay, what should I do? Or how should I overcome this objection or this challenge? 2, I'll also tell you, if they're giving you objections, they're still talking to you. So it's not a flat out no. That means they want a reason to join you. So the objections are actually a really good thing. And then it gives you the opportunity to put on your problem solving hat and offer them something really cool and fun that will change their life.
Yeah, if they don't have interest in you guys, they just hang up. Objections are a key that they're intrigued and they want to know more and they don't want to say no to you. So just remember that as a great thing. One last thing for confidence. I know sometimes this job can be daunting. So if you're lacking confidence to get started, I would challenge you to go on Recon Roleplay. You can even just watch. You don't even have to participate. If you want to get inspired by other people on the phone, setting appointments, that is a great way on Facebook. And then if you want to dive in and practice with someone, jump on the Zoom and you'll get partnered up with a different person every day, people you don't know, just to practice. And it's a great way for you to level up your confidence before you pick up the phone. So Meagan starts with knowing that she can help people. And that's what her superpower is. What is yours? Go for it, you guys. This is a great time to help people. And Meagan, you have helped us see many different ways to do it today. So thank you for your time. And we love you and we appreciate you. And we're thankful for your help today because I know you made a ripple effect across the globe. So thank you guys for being here. Let's follow her challenge. Let's make 5 calls and share with us any wins you have. Meagan, can you put your contact in the chat in case anyone wants to reach out to you singularly? Yes. Thank you, Meagan. Thank you from everyone. You're the best.
My pleasure. It was great to be on here with all of you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I want you all to go out there and crush it. Go change lives. That's what we're here for.
Go do it, guys. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.